Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Deborah Westbrook and thanks for joining on YouTube. I'm going to welcome some people on Facebook Live, so zip ahead a little bit. We're going to talk about light today, continue talking about the reality of light. What does that mean scientifically and what does it mean spiritually? This is what I love to do. I'm not looking to I'm kind of just looking to follow my path. And in doing that, I want to share with you some things that I hope will challenge you, bring curiosity in you. So I'm going to wait a little bit for people to get on it. It's funny. I live on the central coast of California, and the warmest or the coldest it gets here in the winter, generally, it'll get down to 40 sometimes at night, rarely during the day. So the news the other day, the weather was reporting, and she's going, we've had so much cool weather. It's time for us to have those 70-degree temperatures. And I laughed and I thought, holy crap, 70 degrees. The west of the country is dealing with 30 and 10. So believe it or not, it's beautiful. We're having 70-degree weather for a couple of days and it's gorgeous. Hey, Tanya. So welcome. I just want to do this because I love to do this. It's really interesting because I'm just doing this for me and I'm so thankful. So today we're going to talk about light. For those who join on the replay, let me wait a couple minutes or so before people get on. I hope you're doing good. We're doing good here. It's kind of like January and you're just kind of going through the motions of just, waiting for spring to come or whatever, but it's a gorgeous day here. Hello, Saloma. I'm not good at small talk. I kind of like to get into things, but you know what? I'm going to wait for a minute. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all doing filled with light and not being so serious about all the chaos that we're surrounded by. Laughter is good. Getting out in nature is good. The narrative of fear all around us, it's not good for us physically, emotionally, or in our spirit and our soul. So let me get started. I want to share something. Two friends this week, Lisa and Pam, said something to me, both coming and saying the same thing from different perspectives. And I did a lot of thinking about it. And I kind of realized that that was where I am. So you might find yourself in this position. I can't look too far ahead. I can't have intentions that this is what I want to create or this is what I want to do. But what I'm seeing in front of me are fragments that are not really fragments. They're pieces presented to me by my intuition and by synchronicities that are just asking me to journey into the path in front of me and to just trust that the universe, that God knows the direction I'm going and what is the desire of my heart. So I'm just following along, and that's the reason I'm doing these Facebook Lives, is because the topics I'm talking about I really like. So I don't have this glaring vision of someplace I'm going. I believe that I am going in a direction that I'm supposed to be going, and I believe God will reveal to me, but I don't think we're looking too far ahead right now. And I think that is the purpose of flowing within the essence of your being. You could call it flowing in the spirit. I believe it's deliberate. I don't believe we're supposed to plan because then we get caught in ego or we get caught in what we're called to create. So there is an essence of just flow right now. And so even in creating this message today, it's like everything in me still wants to get to the point, and I couldn't. Because I realize that when you're in the midst of journey, it's different than when you've arrived at a point and you're telling people 10 steps to do something or 20 steps to achieve something. I'm not doing that. I'm on a journey, and so I'm reflecting that in my messages, and I loved, again today, it's like I got up this morning and I said, what can I add to this? So the mind was going, what can I add to this to get to the point? And I realized, nothing. This is a journey. So this is not supposed to give you any answers as much as it's supposed to incite in you a sense of, never knew that, or a sense of curiosity. So let's get started. I'm not going to go much over last week's because I don't want to get bogged down in excess time. If people watch this and they want to watch this from last week, you can get it in the videos of my Facebook page, or you can go to the YouTube channel, which I'll post later in the comments. So I just want to carry on from where we ended off last week, and I want to talk about light from a scientific focus, but also spirituality, how it relates to not just Jesus, but many spiritual wisdom teachers that said similar things. So I want to talk about, let me give you an example, the transfiguration. This was so evident to me. So You have Jesus on the top of a mountain. I do not see Jesus as the only way, but I see him as a beautiful, beautiful teacher of wisdom that religion has brought down to the level of linear understanding and has placed upon Jesus a duality that we have to reach out something outside of ourselves. And this is never, I believe, what he taught. Never. So it's almost like you have to leave all that to find him. And then when you find him, you see the beauty in a different way of everything he taught. And that's where I am. So he's on the Mount of Transfiguration, and it says that he just was so glowing with light. Well, you know why? Because if he was a light, if he believed in being a light body, and he was able to transcend this dimension, he accumulated all the light of the electromagnetic spectrum. When it's all together, it emanates a white light. But on this planet, it's divided up into colors and waves and frequencies to which we just see a small portion. You see red, you see blue, you see green, but you don't actually see sometimes the essence of the whole electromagnetic spectrum. But what if he did? What if the essence of everything that he was trying to bring to humanity was the essence of the full electromagnetic spectrum on that mountain? What if what he was trying to show us is that on the mountain, he achieved that essence, but then he had to go back down into the valley? So what happened is that on that mountain, he glowed in luminous light. He was in the world, but not of the world. Man, I've been thinking of that statement for 2 years now. I can't get away from it. So he emanated light from a higher dimension. Why? Because according to the science of light, light can only travel within the 3D dimension at 186,000 miles per second. It is bound by a linear reality. But yet, when you ascend to higher dimensions, light breaks the properties of a physical reality. Scientists will disagree with this, but many agree that it's true. So light, as you're increasing into higher dimensions, it's like a harmonic, it's a harmonic octave. You go higher and higher and higher while maintaining the reality of who you are. So the particles, when he was on that mountain, vibrated and rotated faster in his luminous display of glory, which I believe glory is just light. So what then? He comes down from the mountain, and in his humanity, from what I understand, he emanated a slower, lower vibrational energy of light in his humanity. He did not deny that in his humanity, he was able to ascend out of the world, but come back into the world honoring his humanity. Well, how do you scientifically explain that? Well, in this book, she does. It's amazing. So she says that the reason this is plausible, because as particles return to their normal speed in the dimension they're in the dimension they're in, they throw off the excess light to return to their normal state. In the world, not of the world. But why return to the normal state? We're not going to stay elevated in an ascension forever. Yes, maybe I haven't studied this. Maybe there were enlightened masters that emanated the fullness of light, Jesus walking in the fullness of light. But I believe as long as we are in our humanity, we are in the world, not of the world, and we ascend because of the groundedness of our being. We're not just going to translate to light one day. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But until that time, I'm very focused on the beauty of my divinity in my humanity to be the light in a very low vibrational energy that is everywhere. So the particle initially absorbs the light. Okay, the light comes in, and then it radiates it away to its normal state. Why? Because when Jesus came down that mountain, what nature said to him is, Jesus, in your organic state of being, you're going to go back into a state called homeostasis, stable equilibrium. What does that mean? Folks, it means quit denying your incarnation. Stop it. Stop trying to get out of here. You're not. You're in it. So start walking, living, being in the reality of your humanity, knowing you're divinely human, and seeing how you can expand that into situations, into circumstances, into people's lives through the energy of light that is flowing through you. It's so obvious to me that I'm probably going to teach on this for several weeks. It's very, very clear. Now, another thing I want to say is this. hold on a second. I am the light. When the book says, I am the light. Hold on. I want to get my computer because for some reason it didn't transfer onto the iPad. So I want to share with you something real quick. Bear with me. For some reason it didn't ground. Okay, so the Mirror Bible says this, and I'm going to use some biblical scriptures today just to show you that it's not just the Bible, but it's also many, many spiritual traditions throughout the ages that speak on the light. Christianity didn't just come into being as the end-all be-all. It is one in a progression of many ancient belief systems that somehow got off track in many ways and now purported to spread a lie to us of duality. But if you go back to the esoteric teachings of Christianity through the Essenes and other ancient teachers, you find that the ancient Christian teachings are very similar to the Buddhist teachings, are very similar to the teachings of Hindu, and why would they not be? Why did we ever think that we had the answer back in the days? Why did we ever think that we had the only answer? That somehow we lived in the truth and everybody else was outside of the light? That is the most ridiculous thing, but I choose not to get angry about it anymore. I choose to show the way. So if you're still in Christianity, I would ask you to expand your train of thought. If you're feeling satisfied there, then stay. I'm not out to change your mind, but I am going to speak truth. So the Mirror Bible says, I am the light. Whoever journeys with me shall not walk in darkness, but will radiate the life of light. He is not talking, in this statement, it is not talking about an exclusive belief system that separates and divides into duality. That is what religion has taught us. That is what Constantine did. That is what the Catholic Church has done. That is what Judaism has done. Islam has done. Evangelical Christianity has sanctioned off their belief system and has totally denied ancient wisdom or ancient spiritual traditions and has decided that their way is the only way. But listen to this. Just as Christians understood Christ to be the light in all beings, the cosmic Christ, and science talks of photons or light waves being present in every atom in the universe, Buddhism says this about the living Buddha. What's the difference between the living Buddha and the living Jesus? In my eyes, there is no difference. There's a progression of spirituality that's helping us ascend when we integrate the practices, not when we stay in one. So the Buddha is always shining, Buddhism says, always enlightening trees, grass, birds, human beings, and so on, always emitting light. It is this Buddha who is preaching now and not just 2,500 years ago. In Hinduism, light symbolizes Brahman, the I, the individual self, God's divinity, purity, supreme bliss, divine power, divine quality, any heavenly body, such as a star or a planet, the power or the color of the sun, illumination of the mind, intelligence, brilliance. The Cree Indians believed strongly in the circle of life. They all believed that the lights were a way of communicating with their ancestors, and when dogs barked at the lights, say the northern lights, it was because they recognized their lost companions. You cannot segregate your belief system, not in this day and age. No more. It won't work anymore. Because if you're believing in anything that is outside of you, if you're believing for a Savior to come back, you're going to be greatly disappointed when at some point you are confronted with the lies that religion has told you. I suggest you go to YouTube and listen to Billy Carson talk about the reality of the Christian faith and how it forms a line of progression from so many years before it. It did not appear on the scene as just the end-all be-all belief system. It was in a progression and an evolution of ancient spiritual beliefs that just evolved in time and place. When it was sanctioned down into law and dogma, that is when we all bought into the lie, and that is why many are leaving right now, rightly so. So when these different spiritual traditions talk about light, they're talking about the radiation. To radiate light means to resonate or to echo. Why would light echo? Well, because light, when it joins with sound, whether that's in your thoughts, whether that's in your mind, whether that's in your emotion, what's going to happen is you're going to form matter. It is through the coherence of the light and the sound together, which we talked about last week. Light that is just flowing as light is called the 0-point field. It is the essence of light in space, but light that is formed into matter, that which we could see, are you with me, is emanating light at different vibrations. Every one of your cells, the trillions of cells that are within you, are formed through light and sound. You are literally flashing all the time in and out of this reality. We just don't know it. We are in the world, but we are not of the world. It's time to tap into the divinity that says that we are light and we are brilliant in our revelation. So spiraling light waves, light spirals throughout the cosmos, throughout the 0-point field, throughout the quantum field of potential. There are spiraling light waves that are trying to get your attention through your mind, flowing then into the coherence of your heart to create matter. That which is already in the field, that light has to be captured within your being to form something, whether it is a dream, a child, a vision. You birth children of light. You birth businesses of light. You write books of light. Everything you do flows from a higher vibrational light if you allow it to do so. There is only light. There is no darkness. Darkness is not a reality. Even though there is great darkness and evil out there, it is a very low vibrational energy that permeates the planet and refuses to allow you and me to learn how to ascend. It is us. We are the change we are looking for. We are the power that we are looking for. So to radiate is that we are resonating with the sound of the Om, the sound of God flowing through us in our very lives. All structure is held together by sound in its many resonances, from the lowest evolutionary aspect to the highest, and it all goes back to what I believe is the divine mind. I believe in a creator. I believe in God. Whether you want to call God source, the divine mind, I am in that and a fractal and harmonic in my light. So now we stayed, many of us, I'm only talking from myself, I stayed locked in a narrative of duality for so many years, as have many of you, thinking that I was speaking that there was only one way, trying to convince people to go my way, that there was only one savior. And that left me at a very lower vibrational energy, and I didn't know it. I was speaking about the light, and yes, the light is love, but I couldn't fully emanate it. How can you emanate the fullness of love and light if you're still believing in the duality that you're right in your belief system, which is many religions throughout the world? So here, you have to have inspiration. You have to have truth come in, which means you have to begin to look at sources outside of you. You have to look at light that is coming through synchronicities, which are invitations to walk in a new way, into a new path. You have to see intuitive insights, which are light that's coming from your mind and your heart that may be saying things that make no sense to you. But you know that you know that you know that this is the way you're supposed to go. We are leaving a narrative of dualism and predictability, and we are starting on an adventure where everyone is on a very unique adventure, and we are honoring their place. I teach you, you teach me. So it's necessary to be curious. It is necessary to be inspired. What does that have to do with light? Well, conditioned beliefs, everything that people are leaving because they're seeing it just doesn't fit anymore, doesn't make sense anymore. They're dispelled by inspiration. What is inspiration? Inspiration means to take in a higher truth, a higher understanding. If you're taking in a higher truth and a higher understanding outside of a linear reality, you're accessing different realities of light. You're resonating to a faster speed in the 0-point field. You're always fluctuating. And the 0-point field is the home of spiritual phenomena. That is where there is greater speeds of light, telepathy, clairvoyance, call them gifts of the spirit, transmutations, alchemical changes, translations. You should be very excited, and I am very excited about discovering this. So it is in the field that is the home of psychic phenomena. Psyching once was thought to be a bad word. I love that word now. So it is that sense of awe and wonder that the universe meets you at a certain point in a certain day, and the communication comes from a higher realm, and suddenly you know you're more than what everything is telling you. You are divinely human, able to discern and access higher dimensions of light and inspiration. So inspired, listen to this, inspired also means to take in the spirit or the breath. Well, what does that mean? It means to increase in light, because we showed you last week that when Om speaks, if you're going to look at a biblical narrative, when Om says, let there be, it is the flow of light and sound that creates. So if you're going to be inspired, you're going to take in the breath of the divine mind. And when you take in the resonance of the breath of the divine mind and you resonate in light, you're going to increase. And this is consciousness. This is telepathy. This is clairvoyance, remote viewing, channeling. It's all true and it's all reality. So the breath of source is the spiraling light waves of consciousness, spirit, essence of being, which takes form due to the sound of the breath. You're always vibrating. You are in perpetual motion. Light is always vibrating. It's always fluctuating. You are always on the move. You just don't know it. You're always accessing or having the potential. But when you're shut down, through anything, lies and lies and lies, it keeps you at such a lower vibrational energy. But remember, what I'm talking about is not the new age bliss. You're going to rise to the degree that you ground. Suffering is necessary, in my opinion. Pain is sometimes necessary. You don't access the beauty of divinity without knowing the power in your humanity to overcome what you're struggling with. It is a journey. So no one actually arrives. You're already there. So when a person is inspired by higher dimensional light, by truth, they are absorbing light at a higher and faster dimension. They are resonating, let me get a little scientific on you. They're resonating to the resonance of the electromagnetic spectrum. You know, there's more than what you can see. There's more than what you can hear. And it's time we start moving in our intuition and our psychic ability and our spiritual ability contrary to what's being told us to do and to be. It's not true. So let's talk a little bit more about light. Light's a spiraling waves. Let's review this a little. Becomes a particle due to resonance. Let there be. Sound and light. So again, I want to make sure you understand that unseen light waves make up space, the quantum field, the ether, the all, the divine mind. That's the potential, and it is all just there for us. That's why we don't have to look to create something out of nothing. We have to access what's already there, learn to see it, learn to have it come into the mind through thoughts. Electricity reaches the heart responds emotionally, and we step out and we just believe it and we begin to manifest. Again, I want to make sure you understand, many of us right now are not seeing a big picture like we're aiming for something that we definitely know what we're doing. I believe most of us, as I said at the beginning, Lisa said this and Pam said this to me, and it just clicked. Most of us are resonating right now in fragment pieces that we don't really know what they're going to produce or where they're going, but we've got to do them. We're not being shown the big picture, perhaps so ego doesn't take over, but we intuitively express what we're seeing and walk forth, responding to the constant resonance of light in us, to the divine mind speaking to us, just saying, do this, do that. Perhaps we need to starting our days in synchronicities and intuition rather than having a plan. Perhaps we need to start our days asking, what do you want me to do today? Where should I go today? Who should I meet today? You know, that is possible. When Jesus met the woman at the well, I don't think that was by accident. I believe he was led there knowing that there was going to be someone. That has happened to me so many times. I was led to stand in particular places, and someone would come that I knew that I had to speak to. This is real. I'm so tired of boring reality and boring religion and boring government. We should be alive with light and beauty right now. So one other thing about light, it's also fractal and harmonic. Now, I really want us to understand this. This is very essential to understanding light. I want to give you two words, morphic resonance, okay? Morphic resonance. Light is fractal and it's harmonic. So morphic means that in order for light to manifest, it has to have a form. How does it get the form? It gets the form from the resounding voice of the divine mind. Again, we go back to light is formed with sound to create matter. But it is fractal. What does that mean? Let us grasp this concept beautifully. Fractal means that everything that is in God is in you. You come out of the wholeness of God, out of the wholeness of the divine mind, lacking nothing. It is up to you to tap into that, to see what is your unique expression. So you lack nothing. You maybe lack vision, you lack clarity, you lack belief about yourself. Maybe you don't believe you're able, or maybe you don't believe you're creative. Maybe you don't believe you're brilliant. Those are all negative narratives of a low vibrational light you tell yourself. But on the other hand, don't pretend to be something you're not out of ego. There is this middle path of wisdom that we are walking right now that shows us which way to turn and how to go to increase the brilliance of light inside of us. We are harmonic. I could do a whole message on this. What does that mean? Okay. When you go on a piano, as you go to higher octaves, they all stem from the initial octave. So if you're looking at light, you're looking at the essence of light in this dimension, okay? But as you increase into higher dimensions, you're taking off from this dimension. So that is why grounding is important. So it's like, I've shown you, if you've never seen Russian dolls, one doll fits into the other. So it's almost like we are harmonic. So as I increase in light, I'm increasing from the base of my humanity. Otherwise, why would I be here? So yes, there were people that I do believe ascended out of their humanity. Enoch, Ezekiel saw things. Some people actually were ascended masters. I believe that's real. I'm not there yet. So what do? I increase the harmonic quality of my life through a progression. Listen carefully to what I'm saying. You do not wake up one day and just say, I've arrived. It is a progression of the increase of light in you to return you to the essence of your divine humanity. That is why Jesus came down off the mountain, to show the beauty of his humanity, but the reality of being the light in all its glory. It was not a dualistic perspective. It was something to reach for, something to know that is our inheritance that we are not seeing, but we are now seeing more clearly than ever. So light is harmonic. It is based on the grounding of the light that is in us right now. It's harmony. It's this balance of a love for your humanity without comparison of other people. No comparison. I am increasing in light. Why am I doing this? Well, because I just love this. There's no other reason. I'm not doing it to gain a following of 100,000 people. I'm not doing it for any reason other than I really love this stuff. And I'm walking in the essence of who I am. So there's no competition. There's no comparison. As you increase in light, you find the reason for your incarnation. Why are you here? Why am I here? To increase in light, to be the light in a world that is being taken over. Another topic we'll talk about in the future. I have no respect for AI and transhumanism based upon what tech is putting out right now. It is a control mechanism. Simple as that. Now, could it be used for good? Absolutely. But the people propagating it are not using it for good. It is denouncing our divinity. It is relegating our humanity to something that is lower than the earth. It is full of bullshit. So you don't use that stuff to do anything unless it's just something you need to apply. But you rise up in your divinity. I'm not against it. But I do see it's not being used for good. We'll talk about that in the coming days. So light is fractal and it's harmonic. Now here's another thing about light. Relegate this to your life. Light needs a place to land. This is too good to be true. It needs a place to land. If it has no place to land, it can't create matter. What are you, nebulously in the vacuum? Are you in love and light bliss, never reacting to your humanity? That's such bullshit, it's almost funny. You're grounded in your incarnation. You have landed on this planet as the light, being resonating with the sound of the divine mind that's put you here for such a time as this. You have a purpose and you have landed here. You are here, I am here. So light is perpetual motion. Light has no rest energy. It's always vibrating. The 0 point field, again, the quantum field, is in constant motion. Subatomic particles are in constant motion. That's you. These subatomic particles in you, they're constantly vibrating. That is why we'll learn to see energy more in the days ahead if you've never experienced it. We will begin to see the auras. We will pay more attention to our chakras. We will be more aware of the influence of the Schumann resonance upon our ascension. We will see ascension symptoms as our planet is shifting crazy into 2025 and 27, as even astrologers have predicted that in this shift and in this transition, we are ascending. That's all we know. So what does that mean for you? What does ascension mean for you? It is very uniquely tailored to you in every way. You are in perpetual motion, because everything is light. And again, the potential is in the field of which you are in the field, but not of the field. So let's talk now a little bit, briefly. I don't want to teach a lot about this, but this struck me as just something I want to add to the science of this light. And there's so much good information on this group of people called the Essenes, but the point I want to make is this. That when the Essenes, which were a movement in Palestine, which in Israel, I believe, I don't know a lot about them, but I know this. They were constantly attacked, decimated by Josiah, by the Babylonian invasion, by even the Roman, in 68 AD, the Roman decimated 1 million, it says, Essenes. Why? Because whether or not we believe it, these people believed in transitioning to a light body into the perfection of our humanity. And the degree to which this group, it showed me this. We have always been lied to. Anytime we want to stretch out an esoteric truth, we take out the Gnostic Gospels and throw them away. We denounce Mary Magdalene. We say anything other than what religion says is true. Everything else is false. We narrate the Bible according to our narrative, leaving out so many things about it. We leave out so much about this. So what about the Essenes? Why is it that this is important? Let me just get you a brief picture of it due to science and light. Okay, so the Essenes were a mystical movement 200, 300 years before the Christian era. They were called the Therapeutae in Egypt. They were the healers. They moved in flowing white robes. In Palestine, they were called the Essenes. They were master weavers of ascension practices, and they practiced alchemical properties that feature humans opening holes in space and ascending into heaven, literally speaking. When Josiah came and found the law, what he did is he returned to the dogma of Deuteronomy and he ousted them. He took down everything that was mystical and esoteric and decimated it. Then you have the Babylonians did the same thing. What does that tell you? What does that tell me? It means there is more to this than meets the eye. We have been lied to, so it's time to search out truth in other narratives that we may not be comfortable with, or we may not even know are out there. So the Essenes were a group. They believed Jesus may have been an Essene, John the Baptist, Enoch, Ezekiel, Elijah, and it said that they were called the perfect ones. They were the way of humans seeking to lead a revolution in human evolution that would result in the appearance of a new type of human. Their purpose was to return to our original divine state and recover our garments of light. Now, when you start studying them in history, you're going to see these astounding things that they talk about. I don't even know how to explain this, so bear with me. Let me just tell you this one tidbit, because I'm going to leave this to you to study them if you want to. They believed that the physical aspects of the priests, the high priests, the stones on the breastplate, the rod, the anointing oil, the ark, they actually believe now that that was spiritual technology from an alien force. Is that plausible? I think very definitely plausible. And I think that that's been hid from us. And I don't think it needs to be hid from us. So they believe that what they propose to give us is just the outer facade of things without the technology to actually access our divine reality. What does that mean? It means you've been given all the narratives to subscribe to duality, but you've never actually been given the ability to see your divine humanity. It's like you're a computer screen without the software that operates the computer. That is how they like you. That is how they want you to be. And so the Essenes, the reason they were decimated, because they were accessing higher realms. They believed they actually lived with angels. So if you do a study on them and you actually see what they're talking about is consciousness, take it out of a religious perspective and see about consciousness, that when they ascend to the throne of God, what they're doing is rising in consciousness. When Elijah or Enoch were taking up, maybe they were an enlightened master that was able to ascend somehow, some way through a technology that showed them how to ascend. I have no idea, but I love the thought of even being able to explore that. So these Essenes were children of light in a cosmic war with the darkness. Hello? That's happening to us right now. Why do you think technology is trying to destroy your divinity and your humanity? Why do you think? It is a low vibrational light of darkness. Make no mistakes, folks. Transhumanism is real. They want you to give up your humanity before you even know your divinity. It's as simple as that. It's no different than what they did thousands of years ago. They always tried to disempower us by making us less than through duality, like we need someone outside of us to save us. When our body has the innate ability to heal, when our mind is able to create things from the field, when our heart is able to resonate in a love energy that can change nations. So they were children in a cosmic war with the darkness that they believe was incarnate as the Roman Empire. And the Roman Empire in AD 68 decimated the spiritual genocide, they believe, of almost 1 million of these people. And then rediscovered in 1947 were the Dead Sea Scrolls. Hello? The divine mind is not going to let this go on forever. When people seek, they find. And when they found the Dead Sea Scrolls and they found things that were the esoteric teachings of Jesus, and they found the reality. I'm going to be teaching next on Mary Magdalene. Not because I'm trying to disprove the patriarchy. I don't give a shit about the patriarchy. They don't speak into my life anymore. But the reality of the merging of the divine feminine and the divine feminine to the masculine to move in power. So these teachings, when you have Enoch, you have Ezekiel, John the Baptist, this is all light teachings. Please don't tell me science doesn't integrate with religion. That's why religion stays ignorant, because it doesn't integrate with science. So the origins, this is what they actually believe about Enoch. They believe, and it's recorded, that he was the first human translated to heaven. That the angel Michael, who was the angel Michael? An extraterrestrial being, a light being. Why do we think this is so evil? Why do we think this is so bad? If everything is created within the divine mind and an energy of love, why cannot we accept this as a possibility? Where do you think Jesus came from? Where do you think Christianity, previous to Christianity by 30,000 years, were the Sumerian tablets and many Tibetan ideas that led right into what the Essenes practiced and where they got their truth from? It's not just from the Bible appearing on the scene. So much to say about this. So that Enoch was believed that the angel Michael anointed his body with oil that dissolved his body into rainbow-colored light that matched the angels, matched higher consciousness, light beings. They also believed that when Adam and Eve when they were clothed, leaving the garden, they were not clothed in skin. They were clothed in flesh, which is the human counterpart of their light bodies, which they had in the Garden of Eden. Interpret that any way you want. Perhaps what we're supposed to learn from that scenario is simply that there is a higher degree of reality that we were created in, and leaving that place puts us in humanity, and in humanity we're said to be sinful and we're ousted. But really in our humanity we're called to ascend into light. So a few more things. The goal of the Essene initiate was to attain the angelic light body. And we'll talk about the symbols in the days ahead, but what I want to say is that Jesus embodied these advanced practices and modeled them in his perfection and resurrection. Many of Jesus' statements can be read as references to the Tibetan rainbow light body. The Tibetan rainbow light body. It's not a segregated, alone belief system that only has the truth. Many of Jesus' statements flow with the ancient teachers that also taught the reality of ascension. He was in a flow of spirituality, a very unique flow of spirituality, incarnate to show us divinity and divine things, not to get us saved to get out of here, but to show us how to live here in time, because we have been placed into time for such a time as this. So the Buddhists also have a rainbow light body, and they show the Buddhist flowing in a vibrating robe of rainbow light surrounding, well, that's so similar to ancient texts that show pictures of Jesus with the halo and the light around him. Folks, why am I telling you this? Because there's so much more. With what the planet is going through right now in this transition of, and I'm going to end with a couple things about ascension. With what we're experiencing right now, you will not be able to face it in the current timeline of which we now live. We have to awaken to a greater timeline that shows that we can ascend into light. But ascending into light, there will be ascension symptoms. There will be things we have to face. You are in time. I am in time for such a unique time on this planet. It is almost marvelous why we're here and we're seeing all this. Because mark my words, you ain't seen nothing yet. You haven't seen anything yet of what we're going through in these next 3 years. If you even listen to what Lisa says about astrology or astrologers, these next 2 to 3 years are going to be major shifts. So where does that leave you? Are you going to stand firm with your feet in the sand and say you're not budging? Or are you going to flow in the reality of your authenticity and your sovereignty and your freedom? And I'm just getting started. There's so much to say. I want to do a month on AI. I want to talk about the transhumanist agenda. I want to do a month on ascension. I want to do Mary Magdalene. There's so much I want to teach so that I empower you every week to be you. So let's end with this. What is ascension? What does it mean for me? Well, it's a transition into a higher consciousness. Things I believe, I no longer believe. The way I lived, I no longer live. It affects every part of my being. A rise in consciousness affects the way I eat, the way I live, the way I get healed emotionally. I'm moving into my wholeness. I'm not going to eat bugs like the World Economic Forum subscribes to. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to be in an organic lifestyle of nature in a higher degree of consciousness, flowing in a higher degree of consciousness in the forests, in the oceans. I'm so tired of virtual realities. Yes, I do this, but there's an emptiness in me. The other day, there was this emptiness I encountered in me. And I just started crying, and I wondered, where is this coming from? Because I didn't feel wounded. I didn't feel trauma. It came because I am so tired of the virtual stuff. Folks, we need to gather together. We need to touch each other and feel each other and listen to each other. We need to explore the forest, explore the mountains, explore nature, be with animals, be with each other, because this is everything these people that are technocrats don't want us to do. Yes, this is a good way to communicate, and I love it. I don't deny it. But this is not all there is. Do you think that all I do is spend time on the computer all day? I hope you don't. I'm out and about at the ocean. I'm out and about in nature. Because you see, ascension, moving into a higher consciousness, the vibration on the earth is rising. Some of you know more about this than me. The Schumann resonance is changing. This is how we resonate. There are massive light frequencies coming in from the sun. Many of you know more about this than me. I just know the basics. So since the body is dense and we're rising, we're feeling the symptoms. We're trying to hold on to the past. We're looking for a political savior. We're looking for all this. It isn't going to come that way, folks. You're the change the world needs to see. You're the love that the world needs to see. So the thing is that we advance toward a greater state of illumination. Integrating higher frequencies is a process. Listen again. Integrating higher frequencies is a process. You're not arriving. You're there. You're just progressing in the potentiality of the field. And you're just moving one step at a time into the awareness of something you are remembering about yourself. You are remembering these things. Your fragmentation due to government control, technocratic supremacy, religious control, the fragmentation of you splitting yourself, thinking your body is not whole, is all coming back into the wholeness of a higher frequency as a process. I eat better. I exercise more. I'm out in nature more. It is a process that is encouraging my consciousness to return to the wholeness of who Deborah is. Who are you? Who are you? Why are you here? Start asking those questions. So here's some few signs of ascension. And next week, I think I want to talk about something we never were allowed to talk about. All the psychic abilities, the chakras, the auras, those were new age, demonic entities. Sometimes I just think about what I used to believe and I just shake my head and I go, good God, we're so taken over by a prevailing narrative. It's not funny. Be very cautious that you're not taken over by a prevailing narrative. So just briefly, there are signs of an increasing consciousness, an increasing frequency. And I'll end with this. In my life, here are the signs that I know that I'm ascending. If you go to Google and you just look up ascension signs, you will see that there are physical ascension signs of the increase of the vibrations coming in the planet. This is a real thing. It could be joint pain. It could be forgetfulness. It could be any number of things. Go and research that. Go look that up. Google ascension symptoms. Because you may find that some of the things you're going through, instead of being hard on yourself, instead of thinking you're nothing and you're a loser, you may see that it's because of rising in light. You have an increased awareness when you're rising in consciousness. You look at things and you're able to call the bullshit. It's very simple. You go by your intuition and you go by your gut. It doesn't matter what they're saying to you is truth. You look at it, you say, that's bullshit. And then they call you a name like woo-woo conspiracy theorist or whatever they want to call you, because they're trying to hide the reality that your intuition is more aware than their facts, because they narrate the facts. So with an increased awareness, you walk with an increased awareness, but it shouldn't bring you down. It should bring you up into the reality of your divinity. I do not believe one thing that the legacy news media talks about. Nothing. I get my facts from trusted people that I have learned to listen to that are speaking a narrative that most people would deny, but it's been proven to be true. I search them out. My increased awareness also comes in how I see things. Like I look at situations happening and I don't look at the outward facade of these things. The wars. It's all bullshit, folks. It's all narrated. It's all controlled. It's all dualistic. And we've been buying this line for years. Rise up. Trust your gut to tell you what is going on, and then stand in that place and have it revealed to you that you form a foundation that you're not going to buy into the lies anymore, that you're going to rise up. Another thing, several things, you have improved intuition. You let go of linear thought patterns. I actually woke up the other day and thought to myself, I'm going to start getting up and actually saying, what do you want me to do today? See, I have some time on my hands, so what do you want me to do? I don't want to plan for myself. I don't want to think I have to do something. Or what if there's the excitement of just living creatively? What if there's the excitement of going places that you might not have thought of going that will open up doors? Or what if you're supposed to read a book that leads you to another book that leads you to purpose? What if you're told to listen to a song? Let me give you an example. And I'm going a little long today. I'm okay with that. When I was in Vallarta for the month, and all these synchronicities were happening to me, I kept thinking to myself, I gotta watch that movie about Elton John, who's one of my favorite singers. The man was brilliantly talented. It's called Rocket Man, I think. It's that movie that came out about him and showed how far down he fell because of his own wounds and trauma and how he rose up. So I just thought, well, I'm not going to pay for it. It's on all the costs. You have to rent it. I don't feel like doing that now. So I get on the plane coming home, and I put on my earphones and I connect to the Wi-Fi, and it's the first movie that shows up. And I watched it on the plane ride home from Vallarta to San Francisco. And as I was watching it, I still don't understand why yet, what I was supposed to see from it, but I saw the brilliance of his creativity. So what I'm telling you is that intuition opens a path that you may not see the end result. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to enjoy the journey. So maybe I don't know why I watched it or what I meant, but I will. So increased intuition. We were never allowed. Maybe the charismatic explored that a little bit more than sitting in a Baptist church or an Episcopal church where everything was relegated to just sitting in the seats and listening to one person. There was no participation. Intuition shakes off the shackles of your self-imposed slavery. Try it. You are intuitive. You don't have to be told it. You are. It's in you. Move out. Another sign of ascension is more synchronicities, more things that happen. Like again, you've heard this story again. It's almost like I can't help but smile. I found another dime. I don't have change, folks. I don't use change anymore. I don't give coins or dimes or pennies. I don't. And sure enough, right by the door, I look down and there's a dime. Every time I find a dime, it is a synchronicity of the universe, of the divine mind laughing with me, saying this, Deborah, you don't know where the hell you're going, but I'm telling you, you're on the right path. Because 10 is the number of testimony. It's the number of forward progression. So those are synchronicities that the universe and I have formed a laughing bond in. And this has been happening to me, 8 years, 10 years. What are the synchronicities in your life? Why don't you quote some laughter? Why don't you see some of these synchronicities that can appear in your life? Why don't you live supernatural? Because you are supernatural. Last thing. You have a deep feeling of clarity. When you rise, you may not know everything, but suddenly certain things, one at a time, start becoming very clear. You start saying no to some things, yes to other things. You start forming a path of clarity that is based upon your authenticity. You don't say no because you're angry. You allow other people to believe what they believe. You don't argue. You don't try to convince people. You follow your path. And that path becomes clear. It becomes moving in a love energy that unites yourself into wholeness, and you become just very joyful and very peaceful without having to prove anything. So you know what to say yes to, you know what to say no to, and you're not afraid to say yes. You're not kissing someone's ass to try to be everything to everybody. but you're also not rebelling like you have to prove something to somebody. When you're clear, when there's a deep sense of clarity, you can sit in the middle of silence when you're listening to all kinds of bullshit around you, and you know you're not going to get involved in that narrative. You're not going to get involved. Or you can speak if you have something to say. Clarity makes you who you are. So thank you for joining. Man, I feel the energy. I'm sorry if I talk too fast. I don't ever want to be polished. I don't. I just want to be me. I am very thankful. You do not know how thankful I am for those who listen, because I want to support you too. That's why I read more posts on Facebook, not because I want to be on Facebook all the time, but when I do get on, I want to encourage other people with the things they're seeing, with the things they're posting. And I don't want to be against anything. I want to be for things. So I thank you so much for listening. I pray and hope that this instills in you one thing. What I want it to instill is like some of you have this well of water inside of you that's not flowing. It's there, it's deep, but it's not flowing. It's like it's there. You have this well inside of you, but suddenly there's a gurgling and there's a movement and it's starting to flow. That's all I want to do for you. And I want you then to start seeking out the path that you want. So as 2024 emerges, as I go from all different topics, I just want you to learn one thing. Maybe you won't go my way. Maybe I'll listen to you one day. But there is a well inside of us. It's like a flowing waterfall that's been stopped up. It's like it's dammed up. And here you are, this beautiful, elegant, blooming flower in the midst of a dry riverbed, okay? There you are, in all your glory. It's green, you're blooming, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're wonderful, but the river is dammed up, and it's hindering the flow from coming across you. Open up that well. Do not put pressure on yourself to open the well. Do not compare yourself with anybody else. Allow yourself to just open it one step at a time. I honor each of your journeys, and I don't put any pressure on you in any way to be anywhere than where you are right now. So thank you so much. Next week, we'll talk about something else. I think we'll spend a couple more weeks on light, and then we'll move on to the next topic. I think these topics on light will be on Saturdays, and I think then the next 4 weeks on what I'm going to teach on will be on a different day. So thank you, Mary, Saloma, Rita, Tender Ann, who did I miss? Seal. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I love you all, and you have a glorious, wonderful weekend. Leslie, there's my buddy. I'm going to go down and see her. The Southern California girl meets the Northern California girl. I can't wait to come and visit you, Leslie and Sherry. Love you guys. Bye-bye.